So I found this journal that I bought when I was actually studying abroad in London back in 2017. And it was before I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The journal itself was definitely a manic purchase. I mean, it's barely journaled in here. Regardless, there are some fascinating entries in here. So for a few videos, I decided why not just kind of flip through this bad boy and kind of look at life before I even knew I had bipolar disorder. Should be interesting. This really just jumps around from 2017 until like fall of 2018. That's right around when I revamped my YouTube channel, so that'll be interesting to kind of end at that point. Given that, because I'm terrible at journaling and it's kind of just all sporadic over that period of time, I've just decided, I'll make a video every now and then and I'll read a few passages that I think kind of relate to each other. I know that bipolar disorder is a lifelong, mental illness, and it's something that typically takes years to manage and really get right, per se. But having been diagnosed 3 years ago, or coming up on 3 years now, I think that there's been a lot learned, a lot of mistakes made, but there's also been a lot of growth and a lot of changes made, either behaviorally, mentally. And moving forward, it's really important to take both of those and reflect on, okay, what have we done well? And, what might need work? You can't heal without reflecting on your past. And this journal is like a perfect way for me to do that. So, like I said, the passages that I am getting this information from, again, are from 2017. I was studying abroad in London. I had no idea that I was living with bipolar disorder. I had no idea that I was experiencing episodes. I had no idea what episodes were. I knew very little about bipolar disorder in and of itself. But the biggest thing around this time period is that I was definitely experiencing a depressive episode, if not multiple, and potentially rapid cycling. But above all of that, I was experiencing my first real manic episode, and I haven't really gone into the specifics about my manic episodes, I feel. I haven't had that many. I've only had, I believe, 2. Again, I've never been hospitalized for having a manic episode, but I have been left with like serious life consequences, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't necessarily feel comfortable with sharing about my manic episodes yet because I feel like that's a little bit too much of my crazy to sort of put out there. But none of that really matters because in these entries, a big thing I was dealing with was depression, which ironically, I'm dealing with now. Overall, I've isolated, 3 large themes in this, and that's depression, substance abuse, and money management, which given the time frame of these journal entries makes a lot of sense because I talk a lot about my struggles with money and how upset I am and how it's causing me like just so much anxiety and stress because I basically just went on some crazy sprees. And this was the latter half of my experience in London. So after my manic episode, essentially, which is kind of in a way repeating like what's happening in my current scenario. Made some really bad choices with money, and now we're having trouble managing it. 4 years ago, or nearly 4 years ago, there's certain things that really stick out to me in what I was writing. Just beginning with the kind of the mood piece, because I think that that's a positive, and I want to kind of start with the positives today. In one part I'm writing, I felt extremely depressed on Thursday. All I wanted to do was drink. I did, but not a lot. Okay, so clearly, not really doing well there. I talk about how I'm just like not really feeling great. I explain how I'm watching Netflix, eating junk food, and sleeping just a lot while casually bringing bottles of wine in there. Additionally, a few days later after writing that, I say, I have been feeling like complete and utter shit these past 48 hours and I swear my body is dying. Granted, I completely did this to myself as I decided to, and I talk about like some of the manic behaviors and choices that I made that I will not share on camera at this time. I'm honest with myself and I say, I low-key want to do them again. I haven't felt sad, I haven't eaten. And then I start to write something that I just like don't understand. I say basically all bad things, but in our capitalistic world of competition, it's good. And then I go off into writing some stuff that I just really can't decipher. And it makes me think that, like, okay, was that me being depressed? And then did I do something to kind of get that serotonin, get that happy chemical that was not productive, like maybe disassociate? Because I honestly do not remember writing this, and this is like a weird kind of, what do you call it? Manifesto of sorts. So, in reflection of that, I think that I can't remember a ton, but I do remember when I was in London cycling through periods of depression, cycling through my second or third like actual manic episode, and just my mood being like all out of whack. As at the time, didn't even realize that there was anything abnormal about me. I was just kind of going through the motions, I guess, which is weird to say because I'm literally writing in here how hard life is. My body feels like it's dying. And I'm saying all of these extreme emotions, but looking back on it, it's like I can't connect to that. And during that time period, I say in the last 48 hours, I swear my body is dying. That's when the rapid cycling comes in, or at least I think I was rapid cycling because, my mood was changing just so frequently to the point where I didn't even know, or I didn't have a concrete middle ground or a uniform stasis level. Does that make sense, I guess? Maybe, sort of, kind of. So the good news on that is that, number one, I do not drink nearly as much as I did in college. And I think that's a great thing. But more so is that I don't really drink at all when I'm feeling bad. This is like not necessarily a new thing. I just don't trust myself, and I don't think that that's a route I ever want to go down. So I just kind of have that as a rule for myself. So I think that's a positive in how we've grown and how we've changed. I think we still struggle with the moods, though, of course, but that's like what bipolar disorder is. So I'm not really sure if that is a negative reflection. I think that a big part of this is that I'm now able to identify all of this. At this time, I'm just not knowing what's going on. It sounds like from my writing that honestly I sound scared. I'm scared for myself, like reading this. I'm just like, wow, this is like I sound tormented almost, not knowing. Oof, I'm like not emotional, but like it's a lot, you guys. I sound pretty tormented in the sense that I didn't really know what was going on with my mood. I didn't know how to describe it, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it. I sound really lonely. I'm really happy that I'm not in that place. I might be experiencing these mood shifts. I might be doing some bad behaviors or whatever you want to call it. At least now I have, I guess, a community, resources, people to talk to, people who recognize these things. I have a support system, and that's something that I might have had then, but I didn't think that I had then. And additionally, when it comes to like the substances, I talk a lot about substances in this. And I'm not just sure if it's because I was a 20-year-old college student living abroad, just living the time of his life and being manic and then depressed and then manic and then depressed. But I do not think in the same way at all. It's actually like quite concerning to me looking at this now. I'm like, wow, were you okay? And I was like, oh, wow, I did do that. And it was like, a lot of things are just surprising to me. And that's kind of scary. And I'm really glad that I'm not in that place anymore. And I definitely see why, I have a lot of these rules in place that I've put into place a long time ago. And they just kind of now become like patterns that I follow habitually, like without question, without ask, like I just do them. Now I see why and how bad, I guess, it could have gotten. I think that I would never necessarily say that I've ever had a substance abuse problem. I definitely know I've felt, and I think this is mainly due to either extreme emotions because, whatever I've been indulging in has made me feel better in whatever type of way. I've definitely seen a route or an avenue that can go down like a problem path, if that makes sense. I think that like in London, just being able to drink at 20, the age limit is, in America is 21. Being exposed to alcohol freely for the first time, and being bipolar and having, I guess, alcohol abuse right in my family and all of these preconditions, I definitely enjoyed it maybe more than I should have. But I was also able to recognize that like this is a different type of enjoyment than like, hey, this is fun. it started to turn into like, hey, I need this, or hey, this is now like what I'm going to go do because this is just like what we do. It became like a crutch, and I think that I started to recognize that, and that's a big reason why it's kind of scary to me today, and why I try not to dabble too much in that. But here it's just, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like in shock, you guys, just reading this. I'm like, wow, poor little me. And I just say that like not sarcastically, I mean like poor like young version of myself. I feel really bad for him. Lastly, the biggest one, and then like I think the biggest takeaway that I'm just like, wow, we're still dealing with this shit today. Like obviously we're still gonna be dealing with, not obviously, but like we're still gonna be dealing with mood shifts. Like that's what bipolar disorder is. It doesn't, like, that's a thing. But the money management, I talk a lot about how I owe my father $4,000. I talk about how my like bank accounts are like maxed out. I say, you know, money is still a problem. I'm trying to transfer credit card balances so my dad won't kill me. It's a lot about money, essentially. And that obviously is a symptom of manic episode that I, at the time, did not realize I was having. And traveling around Europe, you can see where that kind of went, right? But the sad part is that I'm still dealing with that now, even knowing that I have bipolar disorder. And it's like, bro, like I still owe my father money for different things, but it's the same symptom. You know, I've had manic episodes and I've quote unquote messed up, spent money, went on a splurge, or made some rash decision, impulsive buys. The list goes on and on. I'm tired of owing my father money, number one. Number two, it's like this was 4 years ago, you guys. 4 years ago, and like I could literally take out all the sentences I wrote in here about money and they would literally all apply today. So it's kind of just like, I don't know, it's a wake-up call in the sense that I've been telling myself and telling others and telling my father that I'm getting my shit together. I'm learning how to be better with money and like learn money management. And to be honest, if I'm being honest with myself, I haven't done diddly squat. I've learned a lot about money management just because I've gotten older. I've learned a lot about money, but have I put in like practices to change my spending habits, to change the way I manage my money, to put in fail safes so that I don't, if I am manic or hypomanic or elevated, I don't go on some crazy impulsive sprees. You know, at one point I had cut up all my credit cards so that I wouldn't use them, or I would leave all my credit cards at home. That worked out very well. And I don't know why I stopped doing that, but all the credit cards are now in this desk and I have them all in my Apple Pay. So that's just something I'm realizing now. It's just that like, I feel like when it comes to that, I've taken, you know, I'm very good at being like, okay, I fucked up, everybody. Like, let me get this together and fix it, because like these banks are asking for their money. I don't hold on to those good practices. So that's disappointing. And I think that's something I really, really not only need to fix and get a hold on and prioritize in the future. It's something that I want for myself. I like want financial security, holistic mental wellness, you know, financial security, financial health is a big part of that. If I didn't have any financial stress, if I didn't have any financial anxiety, then a lot of my anxiety would just not exist. A lot of my problems would not exist. Maybe I wouldn't be depressed right now. I can't go down that rabbit hole, but you see what I'm saying, right? That's just kind of an eye-opener there, and being like, okay, have you really been getting your shit together in terms of that? No, you haven't. But congrats on at least figuring out the moods, because that's step one, I think, right? You can identify when your mood's changing and then you can work from there. All right, y'all, I will not ramble with y'all too much about what's in this journal, but I will hit y'all back with some more journal entries. I think that this was fun, right? It's kind of a peek into my mind. Even before I started this YouTube channel, you know, 2017, I started my YouTube channel a long time ago. Before I actually started talking about meaningful topics such as this, that was in 2018. So this is even before that, which I think is kind of interesting for y'all to see where I was and what was truly going on. You know, it's proof. So y'all know I'm not lying. All right, y'all, if you found this video interesting, if you took anything away from it, if you just enjoyed it, give it a like. And of course, if your heart so desires, please leave a comment. I love to hear from y'all. Honestly, like, I for real makes my freaking day every single day. I just love the community that we're building, you guys. And lastly, but not least, of course, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to upload more videos. You know, they're coming. I would love to say more videos each week, but I'm going through just a lot, y'all. So you're just gonna get these videos when y'all get them, you know? And I think that's kind of, it's okay, right? Because it's gonna have to be okay. All right, y'all, take care, love, happiness, and peace. Deuces.